There's nothing like Minnesota high school football. Football nights are special. It's about the players, the fans, let's go! The communities. Prep Preview is here to set the stage each week. Dig into the key rivalries, the unique stories, the players to watch, and break down what it all means. The CARE TV Prep Preview on YouTube starts now. Hi everybody, it's playoff football time in Minnesota. Welcome to Prep Preview on YouTube. I'm Randy Shaver. Along with Craig Norkus, we're covering high school football in Minnesota for playoff games played on Tuesday, October 24th, Friday the 27th in Class 6A, and Saturday, October 28th, semifinals in section play. The postseason kicked off on Tuesday night. You were at Holy Family. We'll get to that in a minute. But it's the best time of the year. It's winter go home time right now in Minnesota.
Well, you know, in the interest of constantly trying to improve this show,
yes,
I had some show analytics done.
Oh, you did?
You'll be amazed to hear about this. So, you know what people actually don't like?
What's that?
The analytics show, they don't care for the primitive jokes that I use to start the show. You'll appreciate that.
Absolutely.
You know what they do like?
With them. What's that?
The way those primitive jokes make you squirm.
Well,
they don't like the jokes, but they love the way you react to them.
Right.
So,
okay.
But I'm not going to do any primitive jokes. I'm actually going to talk about our wonderful fall theme, Halloween fall. I've got some nice leaves here. This is actually poison sumac, and I love it because of the bright colors that it has.
Yes.
It's a little bit uncomfortable to handle, but it's really pretty.
I'll pass on that.
Okay. Well.
Yeah. I've done enough leaf raking in my life.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's get on with the show.
Can we do that, please? We have a lot to talk about today.
Okay.
No, please don't do that. We have the final AP football rankings of the season. Mr. Norkus put together a fun food weakness story, and we've got lots of playoff conversation. And we're going to start with Class 6A, which begins on Friday night, the 27th. Now, last Friday, I hosted the Prep Sports Extra selection show and had 5 6A coaches on set to break down the playoff brackets and the matchups. And we talked about their specific games this Friday, starting with Brad Beeskow, the head coach of Forest Lake.
Holding on to the football and not beating yourself. I think when you play good teams, good historical programs like Wayzata, like everybody out there, you can't beat yourself. So you got to go play a clean game. And at the end of the day, you're going to have to finish in the end zone, you know, and go score these touchdowns. You can't settle for field goals or turn it over on downs, that kind of stuff. So we're excited, ready for the challenge.
Yeah, I haven't seen Eastview, but all I know about that first week is you have to peak and you have to minimize turnovers, you have to play great defense, you have to protect the football, play great on special teams. And that's the goal, first week. So we're going to go out and attempt to do that and then take it from there.
So, Ray, you've got a 4-5 matchup, which historically is one to keep an eye on. Talk about getting your team ready for Champlin Park.
Yeah, I mean, we prepare just like we prepare for every other team. Champlin and Blaine run some very similar concepts offensively, so some things that we need to sharpen up, obviously going into that game. And the offense right now, having our quarterback back, we've been clicking really well. So, but it still should be a really good game, so we're looking forward to it.
Your thoughts on your side of the bracket?
Well, Brian pointed out it's the Battle of the Grove, because we got Park Cottage Grove, and so we're excited about that. So bringing the Grove to the Grove, but that'll be fun. But we're excited. Like I said, Park, you can score a lot of points. They put points on the board, and like Brad said, it's just the key in playoff football is not hurting yourself a little bit. And so hopefully we prepare. Our kids are excited to get an opportunity to play at home again. I think that's a fun part too. That's a blessing for us.
We're playing our best football right now at Lakeville North. We've had a great season. Our kids are tough, they're healthy, and they're weathered. You know, our kids have been through a lot. We had a young team last year, and they're not young anymore. And I'm excited for every matchup that's in front of us right now. It'd be great to get a chance to play again. We played the last couple of years, and Forest Lake has an awesome football team. We're going to start with Coon Rapids, and they will get our best.
So again, the playoffs in 6A begin on Friday. If Lakeville North and Forest Lake both win, then Brad Beeskow and Brian Vossen will see each other in that.
Oh, you stole what I was going to say. I mean, people love the spontaneity of that bracket show.
Right.
And what I noticed was the fact that literally Brian Vossen and Brad Beeskow were across from each other, staring at each other as that was announced, and they're looking at a potential second-round matchup. And they both handled it professionally, but you could see them kind of eyeing each other up.
Historically, the 5 and 4 matchups are the best matchups in the first round of the 6A football playoffs, and that's our spotlight game on Friday night in 6A. It's going to be Prior Lake, the 5 seed, at the 4 seed Mounds View. Both teams finished 4 and 4 on the year, and Craig, you'll be there on Friday night to cover that. Should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, those 4-5 matchups are always intriguing. And Prior Lake, they had a tough schedule. Their first 4 games were against teams that ended up in the top 10 at some point.
Yeah.
They went 1-3 in those games, but they only lost to Minnetonka by 1 point. But they closed stoutly with big wins over Buffalo and Woodbury. And when you talk about Mounds View, they always seem to be a tough out this time of year.
Right.
They're a really stingy defense, too, which is great for playoff football. They've only given up 15 points a game.
When you say Prior Lake beating Woodbury, Woodbury, by the way, is a 2 seed
Yeah.
in the 6A state tournament. Here are some of the 6A matchups that we're going to keep an eye on Friday. And again, 5-4 are the ones that we're kind of keying in on. White Bear Lake at Egan, Rochester Mayo in their first appearance in Class 6A will play at St. Michael Albertville on Friday night. Ray Benton's club will take on Champlin Park. Buffalo Woodbury, interesting matchup. Buffalo played in the Maroon Division in 6A this year, getting some schedule relief. Finished at 5-3. They'll play Woodbury. Farmington Edina is playing really well right now, and Blaine Rosemount. That should also be an outstanding matchup. Of course, that's on Friday. We'll have a Prep Sports Extra just in our 10 o'clock newscast on Friday night to cover the 6A playoffs. Now, you were at Andover and Armstrong in 5A last week to cover that spotlight game. It turned out to be a rout, Andover winning 42-7, but you came across a cool sidebar story.
I did, but first, news flash.
Okay.
Andover is pretty good. And now that
I think we knew that already.
Now that the tape is off my face, not permanently to the dismay of some, but now that it's off, I can say that with Chase Pemberton back healthy at quarterback, look out for them.
Yes.
And yes, I did find a pretty cool sidebar story in that Andover-Armstrong game.
Okay.
Now, this is JoJo Page. He's the starting right tackle for an Armstrong offense that has put up over 40 points 4 different times this season. But do you know what else he's a starter at?
I have no idea.
He is a starting
No way.
section lead in the Armstrong Drum Corps. How cool. And he does this with his uniform. Last year, he actually changed into the Drum Corps clothes and then put the uniform back on.
No.
See, there he is. You can see him.
There he is.
Yeah, but that was too much this year as a starter, so he just stays in his uniform. And he does the pregame performance and the national anthem, and then he just kind of slyly puts away the drumsticks, kind of takes the drums off, tightens up the football equipment. And you know what's really cool about this too? His goal is to attend an HBCU. That would be a historical black college, not to play football, but to be in the drum corps.
How cool is that?
Yeah, and for your informational purposes, historical black colleges are institutions of higher education in the U.S. that were established before 1964 with the intention of serving the black community. There are now 107 HBCUs serving over 228,000 students across the country. A shout out to JoJo Page.
That's great.
Of Armstrong for his goals and endeavors.
That's fantastic.
Yeah,
that's a
pretty cool
student
stuff.
athlete in action. Right
Yeah.
there, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's pretty
Way to
cool.
go, JoJo.
All right. Well, the first round of the football playoffs took place on Tuesday night, October 24th. A big night for head coach Dan O'Brien and the Holy Family Fire. They finished 5-3 this fall, earned a number 2 seed in Section 4-3A. This was Dan's first season there after leaving the very successful St. Thomas Academy program for Holy Family, who had lost 22 straight games heading into this season.
Yeah, and I was there for their first practice on August 14th.
Yeah.
So I was very curious to see up close and personal just how far they had come.
Yeah.
Let's look at a clip from that practice.
Okay.
Are you ready? So hit. Here. Get up. Get it. That's it, Ben. That's it. That's good. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Nice job. There we go. Hey, you don't move, you get spiked.
We were talking about how far could a star-studded coaching cast take a team that hadn't won a game in 2.5 years? The answer is pretty far.
Yes, it is.
Let's go to the rainstorm on Tuesday night. Before the game, I talked to head coach O'Brien about what has made his team so successful. His answer? The kids have played with discipline on their assignments. That's what he said. And that is exactly what I saw when I watched them play. Sound assignment-driven football on both sides of the ball. Let's look at the defense first. They were aggressive in all the right places all night. Here we get a sack by James Schreier. Now watch this textbook hit and tackle by Breck Neubauer. Boom, perfect.
Yeah.
And overall, the defense was swarming and punishing, put a lot of helmets on the ball on almost every play, meaning that they followed out their assignments, just like the coach said. How about on offense? Let's look at this. They scored 3 touchdowns on their first 5 plays from scrimmage. This is the first play in the game, a scoring run from Tanner Davis.
Great stiff arm.
Yeah. Their second play in the game, the very second play was a score, a nice 40-yard touchdown by Griffin Murray.
I would say their offensive line's done a pretty nice
Yeah,
job.
well, that's in cohesion. And they didn't need to throw it much, but when they did, they were successful. This is a 55-yard scoring strike from Gavin Fry to KJ Suggs. You know, the Fire almost had 3 separate rushers over 100 yards. Murray had 4 for 94. Davis had 6 for 100. And Noah Galvin had 15 for 124. As Holy Family Cruises, a team that hadn't won in 2.5 years, hadn't won in 2.5 years, is now 6-3. They won this game 63-26.
And they will take on St. Croix Lutheran on Saturday at noon in the section semifinals. And this, of course, sets up semifinal day around Minnesota in Class 5A and smaller. Bloomington Jefferson earned a bye into Saturday's semifinals. The Jags, the number 2 seed in Section 3-5A. St. Thomas Academy's the 1 seed. Jefferson finished 7-1, winning 7 straight games since an opening shutout loss to New Prague in Week 1. I talked with head coach Tim Carlson about getting 9 days off to prepare.
I think it's a huge advantage personally. We haven't had it for a while. Last time we did was 2014 when we went to the state tournament. We've been dealing with a lot of illness. We missed 9 kids last night's game for just illness, flu type stuff. So just to get everybody healthy, I think it's a big advantage. It's tough going Wednesday, Tuesday, Saturday for anybody. So yeah, the bye is very, very welcome.
How would you describe your team?
Well, we have a lot of seniors and a lot of seniors that have really grown up in our system, really going back to 3rd and 4th grade, going through our camps and youth camps. They've been around me and my staff for a long time, so they know what we do and what we're about. And that's a big thing. Randy, as you know, it's not just about X's and O's, but it's about culture and how you do things and doing things a certain way. And they know that. And now they're leaders on this team, and it's kind of nice. You get to turn a lot of things over to them to lead, and that's what they've done, and they work hard, and it's been a lot of fun.
Isn't it crazy how things worked out that maybe your last game at Bloomington Stadium would be a playoff game and a home game? How cool is that?
It's very cool. And that was kind of our goal. We talked with the kids, we're one of the few teams that takes a bus to your home games, and, it's a grass field and you don't get too many of those anymore, but it is ours. And, it's home. And so to get that extra game, at least one extra game, was one of our goals, and we got it, and we're really happy about it.
A year removed from Ethan Glynn's terrible spinal cord injury a year ago, which hovered over your team, over you, all last season. How's it feel? He's doing okay. He seems to be thriving in his situation. How does it feel?
I think, gosh, I didn't see this one coming. You're going to make me cry again, Randy. I see him a lot at school, talk to him a lot at school. I think about him every day. I got his bracelets on. He's got a lot of his good friends who are sophomores that are playing with us, and it's fun to see him at games. But it's something I've mentioned to you before. It has changed me as a person, changed me as a coach, it changed me as a father. So we have not forgotten about Ethan, and he's in our hearts every single day.
Pretty cool to see Ethan at the Vikings game. With some of the players, Justin Jefferson signing a jersey for him and that kind of thing. I know some of the football players that Ethan played with that are now sophomores are part of the varsity team and are getting an opportunity with Tim Carlson and that group. But it's been an interesting year for them in more ways than one. But boy, they are sure showing up on the football field this year.
They are, and it was very dramatic, the change in expression on Coach Carlson's face when you asked him about Ethan Glynn's spinal cord injury. But I loved how he was able to be transparent and humble when he says, it didn't just change me as a coach, it changed me as a person and as a father. That says a lot.
Yep. All right, here's some of the matchups on Saturday the 28th that we're keeping an eye on. Now, Apple Valley will travel to Bloomington Stadium. It will be the last game unless St. Thomas Academy were to lose and Jefferson wins. Then Jefferson would host one more game there. But Apple Valley Jefferson, Two Rivers St. Thomas Academy, that's an 8-1 team against a 6-2 team. Should be really good. The Battle of Fridley at 1 o'clock in a playoff situation between Fridley and Totino Grace. Princeton has to go to Becker. That's going to be a fun football game.
Wow.
Princeton's finished 6-2 in the regular season. Becker, of course, 8-0. How about this game? Rockford is 9-1 at Dassel Cokato. Rockford is 8-1. Dassel Cokato is 7-1.
Great match.
This is going to be a battle of two teams finished ranked in the top 10 in Class 3A. That's going to be a great football game at 2 o'clock on Saturday. And then, of course, Mankato
I want to
West
attend all those.
taking on Chaska.
Is that possible?
On Saturday. So it should be a lot of fun. And, of course, Minnesota football playoffs are heating up. There's just one goal in mind in all of this. Get to U.S. Bank Stadium.
I believe our best teams get to U.S. Bank Stadium every year, right? They may not be seeded the highest,
Yeah.
but in an 8-game schedule, I think, Randy, we had two. If we were to seed 1 to 8, I think we had two teams last year that would have been the 8 seed that ended up winning the Prep Bowl.
And the point he's trying to make, Bob Madison from the high school league, is even though no matter how everybody is seeded, it doesn't mean that's how it's going to turn out, because crazy things happen in the postseason for sure.
That's why we like the postseason.
Yeah. All right, let's take a break from the football talk and talk about food, actually food weakness.
Well, you know, I was vacationing in New York in Saratoga Springs this past July.
Okay.
And I was in a nice restaurant.
Sure you were.
And I walk into the restroom, and there was a sign over the urinal. And I thought, well,
Okay,
maybe,
where is this gonna
maybe
go
I can
now?
use that in the show. Remember how I talked about
course you're
always?
gonna use it in the
maybe
show.
I always am trying to improve the show. That's all I do is always
right,
try to
so
improve the show.
what did the
But I
sign
was
say?
that guy who took his camera out in the restroom to take a
course
picture
you were.
of the show.
Okay.
But of course, in the vein of trying to make things better, the show was about hangry. But the definition of this word, which read, a state of anger, annoyance, and hostility caused by a lack of food. Hunger can cause a negative change in emotion and the emotional state, and can only be cured by eating. Now, if I'm a coach, I kind of want my players a little angry, annoyed, and hostile, right?
Sure.
It's a physical game. So the question becomes, is it a good coaching strategy to deny game day food to create the state of hangry?
Interesting. Okay.
That's the question.
All right.
It may be a sound strategy, but one has to take into account something called sustenance enfeeblement, nourishment fragility, and cuisine imperfection. These are all fancy terms for food weakness. So I ask, as a player, what's the only food you can't resist?
Well, yeah, and there's a lot of them come to mind when we had a chance to talk to some of the best football players of the Metro about what is your food weakness? What can't you stay away from? Here are their confessions. Take a listen.
Oh, Lord. A food weakness. Oh, man.
Oh man. Okay. I gotta tell you, I'm a real big Sour Patch Kids addict. I gotta tell you. I think I eat too many of those, definitely.
Skittles, probably. Wild berry. I don't know, just something about them. I can't resist those.
Donuts. I am a big fan of donuts. I'm better about my eating now, but back then I could eat like a whole box of donuts.
I'd probably say pizza. I'm gonna go on the dessert side, you know, a brownie, because like I don't think I've ever been able myself to say no to some brownies, you know.
I eat a lot of pizza, and I mean, there's really no nutritional value in it. But I mean, it's my thing. I love pizza.
Zebra cakes. Yeah, should not be eating those. The whole Lil Debbie products, should not be eating them. Not very good for you.
But they taste so good.
Yeah.
Lord.
I gotta tell you.
Can't stop.
Oh man.
Man, milkshakes, I'd probably say. Milkshakes, so those are probably my weakness. Man.
chips. I try to stay away from the chips, but I like chips. My parents have cut me off. I've cut myself off from them because I know nothing good comes out of it, but it's too easy to sit down and just eat away at it.
I would say my dad's cooking. He cooks some good rice. It's not like healthy rice.
It's not really a food, it's a shake. I always go to McDonald's, like McDonald's or Quick Trip. And I don't know, I gotta stop doing that, but it puts on a lot of weight.
Can't stop. I get in trouble with my family sometimes because I eat too much. I'll eat like half the pan by myself. They tell me you gotta slow down, slow down.
I try to stick to the protein shakes, but every once in a while you gotta go to McDonald's, get chocolate shakes. I don't know, they're addicting, man. They're addicting. They put something in those.
I've never had a bad brownie, so like that's just one thing like I know no matter what, it's gonna be good.
I love Sour Patch Kids. Oh man, sugar guy, so yeah. Definitely.
Flavor, like, they just got like all the colors that I like.
I like Long Johns. I like those a lot, and then I like Dunkers a lot.
Classic pepperoni, I put some ketchup and ranch on it. It's my thing.
It is what it is, all in moderation, I guess, you know?
Probably 2 boxes of zebra cakes in one sitting. Yeah.
I'm basic, I'm either strawberry or vanilla type of guy. I don't like all that nasty stuff that everyone be getting talking about, like chocolate, ugh. I'm just a big ketchup guy, just runs in the family. My dad loves ketchup too.
Do you feel guilty after you eat it?
Nah, I get a smile on my face.
I was good with everything until we got to the ketchup and the ranch on the pizza. Hey, Wyatt Gilmore, you're a great football player, but I do not understand that combination.
You know, I'm with Trent Page on the Sour Patch Kids. I have them up here, but they've got to be extreme. The Sour Patch Extreme. They have just an extra amount of juice, because why do anything just normal? Extra juice.
Of course.
So I love the Sour Patch Kids. My other weakness is cracked black pepper, and of course I've got the pepper grinder.
You don't put that on your
you just put the pepper on. You just kind of let it. It's a grinder.
That's a lot.
Yeah, no, you put it on.
That's enough.
No, you put it on. It's cracked back pepper, and then you put it on the extreme.
I want
sour.
you to eat one of those now.
You put it in the Sour Patch.
No, stop now and eat one of them.
Well, you just put it on the Sour Patch Kid. Okay, you want me to eat them? Okay.
Oh no, don't do no. Oh my gosh. All right, let's move on. Let's check out the final. Yeah, that's a good thing, actually. It's the final rankings of the football season. We're going to start with Class 6A. Eden Prairie.
My throat's closing.
Finishes as the only undefeated team in 6A, and they earn all of the first place votes. Lakeville North finished second, South third, and Centennial.
Let me clear my throat. I love Centennial moving up to number 4 after an impressive shutout of Rosemont, who shut them out last year in the state quarterfinals.
That did not work. We were hoping you would be quiet through this. 5A football rankings, and Chan finishes unanimous number 1 team in 5A. Mankato West finishes at number 2 after their big win over Rogers. Alex had a great season, and Two Rivers sneaks in at number 9.
The 5A schedule overall was my favorite part of this year. Yeah. We got a lot of juicy teams that will be fighting it out. Did I mention look out for Andover?
You did mention that, and they are at number 4. The final rankings in 4A, Becker unanimous number 1. Hutch moved all the way back to number 2. Wow. What a crazy year for them at 6-2 in the regular season. Orono drops to number 5 after losing their first game of the year to Ricori.
You know, that makes 3 unanimous number 1s in the top 3 classes, which is something we don't see too often.
Pretty rare. Class 3A, Stewartville gets 8 first place votes. ESCO gets 3. And there's some coaches out there that are not really quite sure which of those two teams may be the best of the bunch. However, there's a bunch of other really good football teams in 3A. Rockford sneaks into the final poll at number 10.
When you talk about Stewartville and ESCO, who have been lighting it up all season, Stewartville's average margin of victory is 46 to 4.3. ESCO tops that. Their margin of victory is 57 to 3.75. Yes, that's 3 3/4 points per game.
That's amazing. And 2A, here's the final poll of the season. Barnesville at number 1, Caledonia number 2, and St. Agnes gets a first place vote, finishes 5th in the final poll with a record of 8 and 0.
After finally watching some of the video of the St. Agnes Club, I really can see where they're getting that number 1 vote from, and we're going to talk about that.
Yeah,
right?
Speaking of St. Agnes, I had a chance to talk with head coach Sam Thompson about his undefeated Aggies, who are in a tough section with Norwood, Young America, and Cannon Falls. The Aggies are the number 1 seed. They earned a bye into Saturday's Section 4 2A semifinals.
It's just huge for us to get the rest, huge for us to just have some quality time on the field. I was really, really excited to get that bye.
How would you describe your team, Sam? What makes your team overall a great team?
As a team, we want to be grateful, tough, and devoted. Just grateful for everything we get. Always try to have a positive attitude. We get 2 hours on this football field. Let's make sure we're leaving here better. Let's make sure like every play, I'm giving 100% effort. And then just tough. I think this team's super tough. I think you have to be tough in this sport. You have to, you're either going to be getting knocked down or knocking somebody down. There's going to be times you get knocked down always. And it's, how do we respond to things? Like we practice on, little to no grass field. It's kind of just like something that this team's really bought into is, hey, like we practice in this tough conditions. We're just scrappy, tough team. And I think we just ran with that. I think our section's, super tough, which is good. You gotta want it. You gotta be able to earn some stuff in playoff time. But yeah, looking at us, Cannon Falls and Norwood, kind of all year we were rated in that, by the coaches press top 10 teams in the state. So 3 of them are in the same section. That's a pretty big deal. Norwood beat us last year, so we're kind of familiar with them. And then, we've been watching Cannon Falls a lot. Historically, they've been a super good program. They've gone to the state tournament multiple times at that 3A level. So coming down, it's no small feat. Like we've been watching them a lot. And yeah, they already played Caledonia. They already played Chatfield. So like kind of got a taste of, top teams in the state. So, for sure, a lot of good teams there. So, our motto is how it's been all year is just looking to go 1-0. We got the winner of Rush City and Randolph, and then, we go 1-0 in that game, then we'll be able to, prepare for Cannon Falls or Norwood, if we make it to that game.
So St. Agnes will play Randolph on Saturday evening in St. Paul, and they've got a chance to make a run here. They really do. It's a tough section, though.
It's tough. I love how Coach Thompson talks about they practice on little to no grass and how they kind of incorporate that into their mentality, make them like a tough-minded team. And I just get this image of like Peanuts and the Pigpen character running around with this cloud of dirt.
Exactly.
But congratulations to St. Agnes.
With, I think what his point is, they practice with a chip on their shoulder.
Chip on their shoulder, yeah, I get it. It's totally, and it makes sense, too.
Yeah. All right, let's finish the rankings. Class A, the final rankings of the year. Minneota finishes number 1, 9 first-place votes. Fillmore Central, number 2, and Mahnomen-Waban, number 3.
Last year, number 1, Minneota beat number 2, Fillmore Central, 28-27 in the state semifinals. We'll see if those two are headed for another showdown this year.
Final 9-man rankings, no changes from last week. Mountain Iron Buell is the number 1 team, the defending state champion, receiving 9 first-place votes. They are the team to beat.
And our colleague George would agree with that.
Absolutely. All right, let's check out Hot Highlights for this week.
Hot Highlights is sponsored by TrueStone Financial.
3 choices for you. Here's number 1, Will Style. Interception, 94 yards, touchdown for Ricori as they beat number 2 rated Orono last Wednesday night. That's Hot Highlight number 1.
Hot highlight number 2, Khalil Brown from Minneapolis North breaks several tackles like he's in beast mode. This looks like a Weeble, by the way. On his way to a long touchdown run against Fridley, he should have been tackled at least 4 times. Wow, that's hot highlight number 2.
And number 3 is this touchdown catch by Braden Klein with 2 seconds left. that allowed Shakopee to beat Blaine 56-52 to finish 5-3. That's hot highlight number 3. Rest is up to you. Voting will last until Friday afternoon at 3 o'clock. Go to KARE11.com and vote for your favorite. I'll announce the winner during the Prep Sports Extra Friday night at 10:15 on KARE. All right, you've got something you want to talk about here.
Yeah, so I want to talk about the fact how some teams will have an incredible advantage heading into the playoffs this week. Sunday, October 29th, is National Cat Day. So all those teams out there with cat-themed team names.
Didn't we do this last year?
Well, I'm getting to that. Okay. I think we'll have an edge. There are 467 Minnesota schools with mascots in the Max Preps database, but there are only 157 total different mascot names because of the duplication. So out of 157, the top 5 cat-themed names, which are
oh my gosh.
Tigers, Panthers, Wildcats, Cougars, and Lions, they account for 68 of those 157 mascots. So
You're
that's
doing math here. This is confusing.
It was my understanding there would be no math, but there is. So 43% of all the Minnesota mascot names are those 5 cats.
Okay.
And there's more cat names after that, like Bearcats, Bengals, and Pumas. So, in honor of all those cat-themed teams and in recognition of National Cat Day, October 29th, we're going to do something we did do last year and pull out the famous MGM Lion.
Oh,
remember the MGM
yes,
Lion?
I certainly do.
And well, I've also had someone new in training for the MGM Lion role.
Oh.
Let's take a look.
All right.
Yeah, that lion is pretty cool.
Ferocious.
But introducing
what?
G. Yes, this cat's name is G. He wants to be the lion, but there's one problem. Listen carefully.
What? What?
Listen.
I'm listening. I don't hear anything.
Oh, yeah.
A little.
The unfortunate problem is G is a silent cat, even though we've been training all summer with October 29th, National Cat Day in mind. G,
what are we doing today?
G has been working relentlessly to. No, he just can't get it. Come on, G, you can do it. You can do this.
What
Come
are
on.
we doing today?
You can do it. Wait, one more chance.
Oh my gosh.
Well, anyways,
okay.
Good try, G, and good luck to all the cat mascot themed teams that have an advantage this weekend in the playoffs.
All right, we missed Weeble the week last week because Craig was not on the show on October 16th.
I was getting pepper out of my throat last
so
week.
You've got some good Weebles this week.
Yeah, I was very pleasantly surprised as there were many Weebles to explore Orono, but the winner comes from the October 13th game, Totino at Orono.
Oh.
Weebles wobble, but they don't fall down.
The players that do a little wobbling but don't fall down are the ones that have a tendency to earn the Weeble crown.
Hey, hey, look at me and Weeble.
This week, I'm crowning one of the best tackle dodgers. He is the Spartan running back, Liam Rogers. And guess what? We have our first two-time winner. Liam Rogers won this already earlier in the year.
Okay.
He is 5'9", 175 pounds, and he runs like 275. But you know what? He gets the Weeble for not only one run in the game, 2 runs. Well, let's look at the first one.
Oh, gosh.
Look at the strength.
Twist him around, man.
Look at that, and it's his own guy, 55, that finally knocks him down. Let's look at this again, though. For a 175-pound runner, he looks like a 250-pound fullback.
He gets
there.
a push there from 57
Look at
to
him
55.
squat.
Yeah.
Now, here's the second run, same game. This is in the fourth quarter.
Okay.
Watch this.
Okay.
I'm just going to get rid of
shed
you,
that tackle.
and then I'm going to come back
and
inside.
The same guy
and then
missed him again.
The same guy can't get away. Liam Rogers with 2 incredible Weeble runs in the same game and a 2-time Weeble winner.
Okay.
So congratulations to Liam Rogers.
And what are you doing down here? What are you doing down here? Okay. What?
If you come to my house on Halloween, I will be orange glove tape face guy. If you want my candy, you got to deal with this.
Well, the candy's going to have pepper on it, so I don't think you want the candy.
Pepper.
That's it for the show. We're back next week, Wednesday, November 1st, with our next prep preview. Reminder, the Prep Sports Extra, Friday, October 27th, 10:15 on CARE, just 6A. And then, of course, we're back on Saturday for the section semifinals at 10:15 on CARE and 11 o'clock. Oh, man, this is just a mess. We'll see you next week. Enjoy the football. No.